Greetings, interminglers, and welcome to this drop-in session of Flattening the Learning Curve. Today, I just thought we'd talk about some double crochet front, double crochet back, basically the basic stitches in interlocking or intermingled mesh crochet. We have our foundations video in a separate segment, so I'm not going to address that today, but I thought as I'm working on this block, well, why don't I jump out there and introduce those of you that have never seen these before to the most basic stitches of intermingled mesh. There are basically 4 stitches. There are the double crochet front, there are the double crochet backward, there are the turn the work and crochet contrast color back, and there's the double crochet in the last window, or the edge stitch as some might call it. I'm in the middle of a block that I started, and like I said, I'm not going to go over the foundation row because we have a segment on that already, but I will go through just the direction of the stitches and how they're formed with the intermingled mesh. And as I pick this block up, I asked myself, oh, where did I leave it off? And I suppose this is a good time for me to help you with that too. If I pick up the block, I can see my edge stitches here in the windows. If I count my windows, I can know exactly where I am in the rows, remembering that there's always 2 rows of 2 rows to stitch in order to cover both layers of mesh. You would say these are my foundation rows. This is row 1, this is row 2, this is row 3, row 4, row 5. See, I'm counting the windows, and these are row 6. So right now I'm on a contrast color of row 6 because the main color of row 6 is done here. I don't have the contrast color done yet, so I'm in the middle of it. So now I'm going to just go ahead and look at my pattern, which says that the row 6 contrast color is chain 4, front, back, forward, back 4, back 2, forward 12, back, and then turn work contrast color back. So I have already, as you can see, done my chain 4 right here. I used a twisted half double crochet, which is also in another video. I have my chain 4 here. I have my forward 4 here. And now my pattern says that I need to do 2 in the back. Note that when you're doing intermingled mesh, you are always working each layer of the mesh individually and of itself, meaning that you are never ever going to crochet contrast color into main color. Okay, so we're going to complete out this with going back, and back is not the back of the work, but it's backwards and away from you. Forward is not necessarily like the right side of the work forward. It is actually forward towards you. Okay, so our next 2 stitches are back 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet and back 2. And keep in mind that, okay, so we always work through row windows as needed. I'm going to bring my hook through the window, and I need to bring this to the back in order to do it in the back. So I've got it in the back, and now I can do my double crochet in the back and my chain 1. I need 2 of those. So again, I'm going to look to the next window of my main crochet in order to coordinate my new stitch, my new contrast stitch to it, and it's a back stitch. It's back 2, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come through the window, and I'm going to grab that because it's sitting in the front. I need to pull it backward. And I'm going to pull it, and I have it now in the back, as you can see, backward away from me. I'm going to complete out my double crochet. Notice that I am not working into that green main colored mesh at all. What I have just done is intermingled the 2. And the chain from the main color is now sitting towards the front because I pulled these stitches back. So my next stitch in order would be front 12 on this row. So I'll go ahead and I'll say I just showed you the back. Because this was sitting in the front, I had to pull it towards the back through the window. But now I need to do front, forward. So I'm going to double crochet, and remember to chain one after every double crochet, chain one, double crochet forward. I'm bringing my hook forward, but more than that, I'm going to make sure that this chain from my row below is forward. And actually, I always work into this leg here to straighten out my windows. Also another video. And I'm going to double crochet. Notice I did that double crochet forward. I did not go backwards away from me and behind this main color. I did it forward and toward me. So there's 12 of those. This one here, as you can see, is actually kind of positioned in the back from the row before. But because this is a forward stitch, I actually have to go into that window again and make sure I pull it forward. And I'm keeping my yarn in the front of my work here. And there we go. Chain one. So there are 12 of those. So here we go. Forward. These are all going to be forward. I'm only working into my contrast color with my contrast color. What's my contrast color? Yarn. This block that I'm working on is a block that I'm going to be releasing, and I'm actually going to be introducing diagonal stitches with this, but I wanted to, while I'm thinking about stitches, I wanted to get these, get a little video out there just on those two stitches on the double crochet forward and the double crochet backward. And then how to turn the work. Change colors. I'll go over that momentarily. While I have you. Coming up to the end here of our 12. So I almost got it into the main color. Don't want to do that. These are all sitting in the front, so it's very straightforward to do these stitches. So straightforward to do them forward. Because the contrast color is actually sitting in the front toward me right now. So when I turn it around, that may be a different story. I'm coming up on the end of row 6CC here, contrast color row 6. And I did, trust me that I've done, then when I finish this, I will have done front 12, forward 12. And here is my last stitch, and this is a back. So see how this, I actually have the chain marked off for this last stitch of the contrast color. It's forward here, but the directions are that that's a back stitch. That is a backward stitch. So I have to come into the window and I'm going to grab it into its chain and I pull it to the back. And this is what's going to allow the chain of the main color to sit in the front like it does down here, because I'm pulling this to the back. And then this is a double crochet back. There's no chain here because it's the last stitch. But this is a decision spot for you. You can either prep your next row by doing your chain 4 and then locking that loop so that you don't lose it later, or you can do a twisted double crochet, which is how I do mine. I'm going to do my twisted double crochet, and this is all before I turn the work. With the twisted double crochet at the end, you do have to chain one, and then we're ready to turn our work. So that was a row 6cc on this block. So the directions are now turn your work in contrast color to the back. It will either say turn your work contrast color back or turn your work contrast color forward. We're going to turn our work. Here's our contrast color. We're going to drop that loop and we're going to drop it to the back. Turn work, contrast color, dropped to the back. See it? Back away from me, not the back of the work. And then you go on to your next row. I gave all my stitch markers, but this is just coming off the resting table there. It's been there all day waiting for me to come back to it. Take this out and we'll do the next row. All right, I am now on row 7, main color, which is, for my patterns, the uneven numbers are, I believe, always going to be the non-public side of the work facing, and the even colors will be the public side, or what some call the right side. So we are on 7 main color. The first stitch is chain 4. I have already prepped that with a twisted twisted double crochet at the beginning. The next stitch is back, and then is forward 10, and then is back 5, and is forward 2, and is back, and then is double crochet last window. So back. Remember, back is not the back of the work, but rather backward away from you. Our next stitch, if we look into the window, remember we're not going to work into this because we've got our main color here. We do not work this. We're working only into the chains of the main color. So the next one being back, I can see that the next main color chain is this one here, and it is already positioned backward away from me. So I can just kind of like, don't be afraid to bend your work. I can just kind of go, make sure I take my hook. I don't want to go through any windows or anything else. And I'm going to keep this contrast color chain there in the back so that it stays woven properly. I'm just going to work back. I think people tend to confuse the double crochet back with a post stitch. Okay, we're not doing post stitches here. We're just doing basic double crochet. Backward, away from us. Double crochet chain 1. Okay, so that was back. See how it is backward, away from here. And if we tug on our little thing here, we can see that we went over it. And when we turn that around, it's going to have woven the edge the way it is. In this particular pattern, every contrast color row ends with double crochet with turn work contrast color back, but many patterns will have turn work contrast color forward, but this one does not have any. Our next set of stitches here are forward 10. So as we can see, our next chain is here and forward toward us, so it's going to be relatively easy. We're just going to go ahead and do 10 of them. We don't have to go through any windows of the contrast color because they're all already set up toward us. We won't have to pull them through the windows to get them into position. So that B and F in the pattern is all directional. Okay, that's what it is. It's directional. Forward, backward. So we want 10 of these. And if you'll notice here, like I was saying, when I work my intermingled stitches, I prefer to work into that third leg of the crochet stitch. as a stabilizer and a spot to be able to level out my windows to keep them straighter, so that they don't zigzag as much, which is very common in crochet when you work back and forth. So 10 of these. And then I have 5 back. Oops. Oh, geez, got that there. So always remember that is double crochet back, front, and chain 1. You have to have that chain 1 to form your mesh. Here. What do we got there? Okay. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more. 2 more in the front. And then it's 5 back. And then we'll have the other stitch that we see at the end of every main color row, which is double crochet last window. The choices there are that you can either go into the window space and form your double crochet, or you can go into the third of the 4 chains that you made at the beginning of the row in order to form a more perfect union, in order to form a straighter window edge. Or you can go into the double crochet, the twisted double crochet chain. We now have 5 back, so we can see that our main color chain that we have to go into is actually sitting forward here. So in order to be able to work it in the back away from us, we have to actually go to the back, go into the window, grab chain, and bring it to the back. So it's now pulled into the back. I've yarned over already. Remember, you have to yarn over before you do this in order to have your yarn over in place to work your double crochet, because your hook will already be in the window and you won't be able to do it afterwards. Okay, so we're going to do 5 of these. Here's 1. Another one where it's positioned in the front already. So we come into our window, we yarn over, and we did our chain 1. We're yarning over, prepping for our double crochet. Go into the window, grab the chain that we need, finish our double crochet. We have 2 now. We need 5. This one's in the back, this is in front, this is in the back, meaning the position of these main color double crochets from the prior row. They all have to be worked into the back to complete out our 5 back double crochets. So I think one of the key things to remember as you're doing this is if you double crochet back or front, whichever it is, in this case it's back, you do your yarn over, bring your hook where you're going. It's going backward. Okay, where's my next main color crochet? It's not back there yet, so I have to come into the window and get it. So there I go. I pulled it through the window and now I can complete it. I have 1 more of these to do to the back. So again, I start my double crochet with my yarn over like I would always do. I'm going to bring my needle backward away from me and behind the work. And where is my next double crochet that I need to work? Well, the chain for it is sitting here in the front of forward in the forward position, so I have to go into the window in order to pull it back. It's back there. Go ahead and I'm going to crochet it. That was back 5. I will count to make sure, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next instruction is front 2, back, and double crochet in the last window. So yarn over like we always do. It's forward or front, so I'm going to bring my needle that way. Where is my next main color crochet that I'm going to work into? It's here in the front, so I don't have to do anything special. I can just grab it and I can work it. Now, just to pretend, for my next one, I would wrap it. I'd look for where it is. This is also a forward or a front double crochet chain 1. It's here in the front, but if it had not been in the front and was sitting in the back, I would have to go through my window and pull it forward. Dig it out, dip in and pull it up. But I don't because it's already there. Chain 1. The last stitch is double crochet. Oops, actually we'll do it too. The last stitch is, no, it's forward 2 and then back 1. So my next one is the back. So again, yarn over, needle hook to the back. Where is that chain that I have to work into, or the double crochet of the prior row? It's kind of both. It's kind of in between there, right? But it's sitting here in the front here. So I have to come into the window, have to grab it, pull it fully to the back, and go ahead and work it. And then the next stitch is double crochet last window. Chain 1. I've marked the chain of my twisted double crochet, so it's easy for me to find and work into. This is where you have the choice. You can either do your double crochet last window right into the window space here, or you can choose to work into the chain space of the third chain of your chain 4, or in this case where I've used the twisted double crochet, I'm going to use the top chain of the double crochet, work it, and that's the end of that. I don't turn my work now because I still have my contrast color row to go here, but I can either pull this up and just go ahead and work that, or I can prep it for my next row by doing a chain 4, or in case of what I do, go ahead and do my twisted double crochet. When I do that twisted double crochet, to make it nice and easy like it was a moment ago, I can see that my chain space for the twisted double, top of the twisted double crochet is right there. So I'm actually going to put my stitch marker into it. It's very pokey and I want to go right through the yarn. That's going to mark that spot for me. When I come back to it, I'll know exactly where to crochet into to do that double crochet last window, and this does have to have a chain 1. Chain 4 counts for this and the chain 1. All right, so I'm prepped for my next row there. I've got a stitch marker marking where to go into for the last double crochet of the next contrast color row. I've got a stitch marker here marking the twisted double crochet for the main color there. This is just an extra stitch marker that I'm going to take out so I don't confuse myself. I am going to lock this whole chain in place, pull it up so it stays out of the way. Do not turn the work, go ahead back and do your contrast color row. It's the same thing all over again. is just, if it's forward, bring your hook forward, find the main color, find the chain, the double crochet of the row before that you need to work. It'll either be in the back of the work like it is here, and you're going to have to dip in and pull it forward to work it. Or if it's in the back already, your hook will be back there, you'll see it back there, and you'll go ahead and work it. I think that covers the double crochet forward and the double crochet back. I do hope to do a start to finish video on a smaller block, but I hope that this has been helpful to you, and I hope that you are well, and I hope that you remain at peace, and I look forward to the time where, we can all think about the outdoor times and gatherings that we have and share those in the group. Take care and have a wonderful day.